Hey everybody, this is the week 2 walkthrough of the genetics and inheritance paper. Make sure you remember it's the paper. Yours will look different because it will be published. It's so pretty. So this is going to be the whole set of directions, and then here's all this stuff. I'm going to go through all of that in the rubric, which you would find over somewhere. Blah, blah, blah. Why am I asleep? Right here. The rubric. If you click on that, if you click on the playlist, that's how you should have gotten to here. And then there's the transcripts, the videos, blah, blah, blah. APA template, that might be useful. And the reference citation generator help walkthrough. So let me go ahead and pull up the rubric. There it is. Okay. Let me pause this so I can make you see the whole screen. Okay, so here's what it says. Review the information on the genetic disorders on genetic disorders on the National Health Genome Research Institute, and it gives the link. So if you go there, you're going to find a bunch of genetic disorders and potential options. Pick the one you like. I would recommend, if you see one you like, kind of Google it or click on it this place too, of course, and see if there's enough information that you can actually write a paper to all the prompts, right? Choose a genetic disorder that can be inherited from a paper. Write at least a 525-word paper from a parent. I said paper. Blah, blah, blah. 525-word paper on the genetic disorder and its genetics. Include the following. Summarize the chromosomal theory of inheritance and show how chromosomal abnormalities can lead to genetic disorders. So you're going to describe the relationship between chromosomes and DNA. That's the whole chromosomal theory of inheritance. Then you're identifying an example of the genetic disorder. So you can say what it is and what the genetics of it are. So if I make up one called mutant X, then I might say that why did they call it mutant X? It's not a sex-linked chromosomal trait. Okay, back on track. So let's say it's randomly on the X gene. It can be a dominant, then everyone could have it. So I would say that this is a disorder that is on the X chromosome and is dominant, right? And then maybe how it can be inherited. You don't need to do that, but at least the genetics of it. It might be that you have some type of mutation that's occurred, or like a deletion, addition, what's it called? Transcription? That sounds wrong. Just translation, transcription for the other stuff. Transposition. Okay. Describe the genetic disorder, including symptoms. So what happens if you get mutant X? So in mutant X from the Marvel Universe, I would get superpowers. The impact of the quality of life. In this case, it could be totally awesome, unless I had like purple hair and people made fun of me, and that was that. So in this section, you're going to include how to cope with the disorder. It could just be that there isn't an option. If you pick something that happens early in childhood, you'd be like, unfortunately, this disorder, you just don't live long enough to really do much. And then include a support group available to the person with the disorder or the caregivers. So let me pause this. Okay, sorry about that, has been called. Okay, so you'll talk about a support group that's available. Like I said, if the disorder happens early in childhood, like when they're 6 months old, then you talk about the support groups available to the caregivers. Find something. Life expectancy, so that would go in mutant X, doesn't affect you at all. You can live forever, or maybe you live longer. How common is the disorder? So how many people have it? Like, what's our percentages? I need numbers in here. And apparently everything is going to talk, so let me quickly put my phone on silence. Oh my gosh. Does it run in specific ethnic bloodlines? Okay, so this is like, does it happen to be mostly in, like, you know, Russians or Scottish or people of one little village? If it does not run in that, then is it more by male or female? Or if it doesn't even do that, just say like, what's the rates in various countries? So if you don't have it in ethnic bloodline, think outside the box. Give me what's it boys versus girls, what's it for a couple countries, something to like show a comparison. So where you might get it more, where you might get it less. Okay, and then again, 3 references. It's like it's old hat now. 1 point for format. Remember, no first person point of view in this paper. So no I's, you's, we's, ours, my's, you know, all of that. No, this is a paper. Blogs, that's cool for. Papers, it's got to be all like they did this, it was done. We're thinking science-y. What would you read in a paper? Not a journal, a paper. You got to have it, you know, nice and sciencey. Okay, and this is a final note. It seems unnecessary, but sadly it's necessary. This assignment has two main goals: to learn about genetics and empathy. If if you use a tone that is dismissive or disrespectful of the individuals who have the disorder, you will receive an automatic 0 for format. I know this seems unnecessary to say, but sadly in the past I have had students that talked about individuals who are suffering from a disorder list that they discussed in detail, and it was very obviously the tone rather made it feel that they thought that these people were subhuman. Remember, we're all different with our genetics. You probably have stuff going on in your own body that you are not aware of. So don't dismiss people out of hand for something that they have no control of. It's all what you do with it. If you're brilliant and you still don't apply yourself, you might end up as a homeless person, and you might be have Down syndrome and end up in a famous model, which just recently happened with a girl. I can see her face and I do not remember her name. So we are not dismissive and we're not disrespectful. We're remembering that everyone is a person. This is supposed to give us a human face. So we did this. We know the genetics, and that the human face allows us to understand the genetics. So I think, here's this person who has this thing. How can I relate to it? Okay, so this just does the same thing, but reminds you what the breakdown is. Let's have a little more table-y fashion. Reminder, your text, now your in-text citations and your full reference citations have to match up. So they need to match. So if I do a control F on your author in your full reference, I better see at least one in-text citation, and vice versa. And then here, your thesis statement, you got to have it. It's half a point, okay? And once again, no first person point of view. And again, that's new. So in this one, though, I did give you how I would approach this assignment. This is only a suggestion. You don't have to do it. But in the introduction, I would talk about genetics and the chromosomal theory. I would discuss the disorder. Does a disorder define a person in terms of self-worth? And I would talk about the disorder a little bit, and then give a statement thesis like, though mutant X should not be all that a person is. Mutant X is a great example to look into the inheritance of genes because of why. Because in this case I said because it is a dominant sex-linked trait. Okay? So then I would have a genetic disorder section where I would talk about my disorder in terms of genetics and what the disorder is. And then I would talk about symptoms, qualities of life, how this changes from your typical lifestyle. We don't say normal, we say typical, because no one lives in the land of normal. How you cope with having this disease, and then at least one support group. Then I would have a life expectancy. This is where I have my facts and numbers, commonness, more facts and numbers, and bloodlines. Remember, if it's not by an ethnic bloodline, then it could be by sex, country, whatever it needs. And in the conclusion, this is where I talk about that nobody lives in the land of normal. Genetic disorders shape us, but they do not define us. However, they are powerful tools to understand genetics in general and gain an appreciation for those who do struggle. It should be an appreciation. It doesn't believe me. Fine. Whatever. I don't care. Okay, so I hope this helped with you to understand the paper, genetics and inheritance, and give you an idea of how to attack it. Like I said, this is not the only way to attack it. This is just a suggestion. And as always, send me those drafts to review. It makes me happy and it helps you get a better grade.